This video is about death.
I cannot believe I just did that. I cannot believe I just did that.
A couple of days ago, I lost my grandma, and creating this video is a weird process because I'm trying to find out how to tell a story to keep her memory alive and do it justice. I've written stuff down like a million times, and I ultimately just decided to throw it away and just to talk about life and reflection and the things that I've learned and the thought processes I'm going through. I grew up around my grandma a lot, and she was ultimately always in my life up until high school, where she moved away and our relationship became distant. And as a young, dumb kid, I was terrible at keeping up. In doing that, I missed a lot of those conversations that a lot of people have with their grandparents, and I didn't learn the things that I wanted to. I didn't have those conversations and hear those lessons and hear those stories that I could have. At 84 years old, her time on this earth was finished, and she was suffering quite a bit at the end, and she was finally at peace. With her passing, it immediately shot me into a thought process of life and death and how that affects the people you love and those around you. And I immediately started thinking about my own mom and my own dad and my family members and how one day they're gonna get old. And then to myself about how one day I'm gonna get old and I'm going to take my last breath on this earth one day. And how scary that is to me right now, being so young. I feel invincible, I feel like I can do everything, and there is nothing that is gonna stop you or I from being on that hospital bed and it being over. If you have ever lost someone, I'm sure that you know these kind of thoughts and where these lead and the sadness it can bring on. And even though I wasn't around her all the time in the later years of her life, I had ultimately realized that I had wanted to change a lot in the past, and I really want to change a lot going forward in the future. I didn't get to have all of these really cool lessons from my grandma and these dinner conversations, but I think she has one more thing to teach me. I'm 25 years old, and like I said, I feel invincible. I feel like I can do anything. And one day I'm gonna be taking my last breath on this earth, and just the thought of that is terrifying, but also motivating. I feel like a lot of the people that go through this end up saying that life is short and we don't have a lot of time and we need to do what we want to do now because it's eventually going to end, and before you know it, it's going to be over. But I started thinking those thoughts, and the first thing that came to my mind was most of those people that have those thoughts usually are at the end of their life, and by the time they wake up and realize that they were asleep at the wheel their whole life, they realize that now life is short and how fast it goes by. And although life is short, I think it's just long enough. Life lasts the perfect time. Life is short enough to be romantic, and it is long enough to experience everything that you want, as long as you start now. These are the thoughts that I had about a lot of things and a lot of goals that I have moving forward. And if I could take one thing and one more lesson from my grandma, is that I need to experience the life that I want to live now, and I need to work for the things that I want to do, because there is going to be one day where it is going to be over. And I'm not going to be able to get a do-over. Somehow, sometimes I think that I'll be able to try one more time, and I'll be able to live another life where I'll be able to do it a little bit differently. And obviously that is not true, and that's not going to happen. I started thinking about the people I want to spend my time with, and the things I had that I wanted to do before I die. There are things in life that we just keep pushing to the side because we make excuses, because we don't have enough money and we have to be somewhere else, and for some reason we just never end up doing those things. And by the time we get older, we realize, wow, I didn't do it. And you end up saying the worst two words on this planet: I wish. I may not be the most knowledgeable person on this planet, and you might not even want to take this advice, but I do know that regret sucks. And if you are able to do things, you should do them now. So I had a choice to believe that my lessons from my grandma stopped, or I had another choice to take what I learned in the thought process of her passing and make it motivate my life, and hopefully motivate yours too, because each person this resonates with is coming from my grandma, and her lessons have been passed to you. In a funny way, this essentially keeps her alive in some sort of way by just making this video. And hopefully inspiring someone out there to just do one thing that makes you uncomfortable. Go do that one thing that you think is impossible, and go do that one thing that you think will never happen. In my personal case, leading by example, I've always wanted to go to Switzerland, and it's something that has never been ideal for me. I can't afford it, and I do not think it's entirely the best idea, but I don't know when else I think would be. I'm always going to make an excuse why I can't go somewhere, and I'm always going to find a way to get out of it because it might not be practical. So I'm just Googling a place in Switzerland that looks cool, and I guess I'm just gonna buy a ticket to Geneva or Switzerland, whichever one is closer, because I don't know. I honestly didn't do any research for this because I did not think I was actually gonna do this at the end of the video, but I'm doing it. So Zurich is closer to my destination, so I guess we're getting a ticket there. I cannot believe I just did that. I cannot believe I just did that. I'm going to Switzerland.
Falling asleep, son. Time to get a move on. Fever. Rest on your own terms. Smoke out the cloud.
My flight doesn't leave till April.